Hi, it's Nick on the 3rd of August. Hope all is good with you. Carrying on this week's theme of being paid for our work. And today I want to talk about the idea of love and money. Because it seems such a simple idea. Well, wouldn't it be lovely to be paid for doing what you love? It's certainly what I've been an advocate of for 3 decades now. What I've spent a lot of my life doing is being paid for what I love. And there are some dynamics that underlie it that often block people. They've certainly blocked me. So I just want to share 2 of the major ones. I say dynamics, I'll explain them in a moment. But it seems like it should be easy. But let me tell you what I think so many of us have been kind of brought up to believe, conditioned, programmed to believe, if you like. That to some extent we can only work for the love or the money. So a lot of people say, well, I'll sacrifice my soul because I need to earn a good living. And maybe one day when I've made some money and I've got some money in the bank, then I'll stop doing what I need to do to earn money, and I'll stop selling my soul to earn money, and I'll do what I love because I know I'm not going to earn much money out of it. So it's this idea that we can either have the love or the money, and that most of us believe we have to make a sacrifice. And certainly for many years I did that, which was I thought, well, I can either do what I love, but I'm not going to get very well paid for it, or I can, do something I don't love, but I'll get well paid for it. So it is almost a belief that many of us have, which is in a way we can't, I don't like the idea particularly of we can't have it all, but we can't have both. We can't have the love or the money, so we have to make a choice. We can have a bit of the love and some of the money, or vice versa, but we can't have lots of love and lots of money. And underneath that is, I call that dynamic sacrifice. We have to make sacrifices. So which are we going to sacrifice? Are we going to sacrifice the money for the love, or are we going to sacrifice the love for the money? So I think a lot of us believe, we're not necessarily conscious that we're doing this, and these dynamics don't often show up until people are making a career change, or they leave their career to start their own business. And then this stuff often still is operating unconsciously, but then it begins to come to the surface. And often when I'm coaching people, I help them become aware of it, because it's kind of there, but they don't realize what's quite going on. So that's number one, is most of us believe we probably have to make a sacrifice, one or the other. We have to sacrifice the love, or we have to sacrifice the money. But then underneath that sacrifice, what I've found personally and kind of professionally, having worked with lots of people, is actually underneath the sacrifice is guilt. We feel guilty about having both. It's like, oh my goodness, so many people don't enjoy the work that they do, or so many people don't even have work. So, I can't, it's too much for me to have work that I really love doing and be well paid for it. That's almost like a kick in the teeth to all those other people, or whatever stories we might come up with. But the bottom line is we, and I include myself, I have often felt guilty about how good my life can get. Like, to do work that I love, that influences positively other people, to love doing it, and to be well paid. Who the heck am I to think I can have all of that? So, I'm working through elements of that for myself, but I see it working in so many people. It's this belief underneath that for something really to be work, there has to be sacrifice involved in it. If we're not suffering and struggling and not enjoying it to some degree, it's not really work, so therefore we don't deserve to be paid for it. So underneath all of this is this idea that we only deserve to be paid for some form of suffering, and that when we're doing what we love, we don't deserve to be paid for it because we're not suffering. So it's this whole dynamic of work and suffering, or suffering and being deserving to be paid, or rewarded in some aspect that comes into play. So I hope this is touching a chord, and I'll talk a bit more about it tomorrow, because it's a huge dynamic, and I'm not doing it full justice here. I'm just touching on the tip of an iceberg here. But I think this is what stops many people really prospering in doing what they were born to do, what they love doing, is this underlying belief that they feel guilty about having things be too good. They feel like they have to make sacrifices, and if they're not suffering, then they don't think they deserve to receive money in return for what they're doing. If they're loving what they're doing, then how can they charge a lot of money for it? Okay, so I hope that's been helpful. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll be back tomorrow with another thought. God bless. Have a good day. Bye-bye.